Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the KISS Foundation Spaceship Institute Public Teaching in English for Monday, December 11th, 2017. And today is part 12 of Understanding Plasma Science series, the last part in this series. And we're going to be covering the health and also a series summary. And again, as usual, we have Jim and Lisa McDonald along with Dr. Rodrigo with us. I'm your host, Flint Mulhausen. Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Jim.
Morning, Flint, and hello, everybody. Yeah, thanks very much. We've now come to part 12 of 12. I'm just lucky I didn't make it part 20 because sometimes it goes on.
Well, we certainly could do that far if we wanted to.
Oh, we'll be doing something similar along the lines next year, but not in the sort of 12 part, because this is a nice introduction, hopefully, for everybody. So we'll hand it over to Dr. Rodrigo.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Good evening. Happy to be again with all of you. So now, let me guess, give me a may I share the report? Can you see this? Hello?
Yeah, we can, along with the rest of your desktop.
You're sharing your whole desktop, Rodrigo. I think you'd be better off just sharing the document.
Okay, let me do it now. Thank you, Rick. Now?
That's a lot better.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Flint. Okay, this is, James said this is a part 12 of series of 12 of plasma science workshop in the field of health. Now we're going to talk about the technology health devices. These are different devices that we have built. They are made of coils, rings, and dynamic reactors, and a mix of all this. So we're going to discuss as you understand the process, how these devices work. So we're going to discuss these points. So with this, we create an energy field. We create a pure environment, as we discussed in the first teachings, when we how we are involved in this environment outside. There's so much pollution. So that's what we're trying to make now. There's a new environment, good environment for us. So it's also an extension of your soul. You will understand how this works. You're in GANs and plasma state. Your field changes according to your emotions. Your energy field interacts with the energy of the GANs. Both energies change to create field. Your energy field interacts with the patient field. The stronger field changes the weaker field. So to understand this, the field, so there's a different devices. On the left side hand, we have a device with the coils, made of coils. And what happened with this in the right side is the rings. I exposed us, presented these devices on the medical field. And we have incredible man, closet there, who is skills is to see energies out of this devices. And he asked me to take photos of the devices and also photos with the patient inside, 5, 10, 15, 10, even an hour of the patient being inside. And what he have found is that this is a kind of energy that's this device on the left side hand create like a toroid energy field, and the right side hand is create like a vortex. And what he said is it is an energy, but also he can see colors. It has different intensity, different kinds of colors created by this energy, these devices. But he said that these devices, this energy is the energy of the creator. So this energy, if I made this one, he can see my energy inside of this, what he's described as a consciousness. Is my consciousness inside or is involved in this unit? And this is what you all understand how that happened. So it's my energy. And also he said, if he didn't know me, if he didn't see me, once he see those kind of devices, he says the energy. If I put myself among 1,000 people, even though without knowing me, he will be able to find me, because the energy that you put inside, the energy that you have is like a fingerprint. It's your own energy, your own type of kind of energy. So that's what you put inside. When you create whatever intention you have, that intention will be in that unit. That's the way it works, and that's what the thing that we're gonna explain now. Understand why it's important when you create any of those devices, anything is your energy you put inside. So this is a blueprint of the people who have, this is a blueprint of a device of the coils. And the way it works is, you see this in the left side board, this one. They have capacitors. Every coil has the capacitors, and the other side it doesn't. What it does, so it creates a field between this side and the other one. So whatever you wanted to extract, if the person is right here, let's put it right here. If a person is right here standing and they have problems they put on this side of the body, let's see if a tumor, if it's a part of the body, and the other side you have pens, you want to extract that energy. It is here. As you remember when we described how to make patches, we have a tumor here, and you want to extract something from here, you create patches, one size and the other, but also this course will help you to extract, to move that energy. So if you want to extract that energy from here, you will use the pen that is right here to extract and connect it to the salt water. The salt water, which is contained, this is a gravitational field, pulls the energy out of the body. But let's see, you have, I'm gonna put it again, and this side, you have the heart. You want to do something to repair your heart. Let's see, forget about this, the one, okay, erase it. You have the person. You have again the person here. And you have a problem in your heart. You want to repair something in your heart. You don't want to extract anything. You don't have too much. You want to repair something. As well, you put patches here according to the gains that you need to for the heart. So, but in these cases, you're going to use this pen to bring the energy back to the heart. You don't want to extract. You don't want to connect anything to the salt water. You want to use even 3 of the pens using. You want all the energy coming back from all the coils. You want to add all the energy of every single coil back to the heart. That will help you to reconstruct, to regenerate any part of your body. So these coils, this pen, so we have the other side, helps for two ways: to extract energy of the body or bringing back energy if you want to rebuild something. If you have something that you want to repair, you will use the pens to bring the energy back. So you will have, again, the patches on the sides of the knee, because you need those elements in order to bring the elements you need for the knee, but you will connect those pens on the area of the knee to bring the energy, to increase the energy of those patches back to the knee. So as you said, those pens help to bring energy to the body or extract something from the body. You will connect it to the salt water. And this is a blueprint of of the coils for the health unit. So to understand this, a lot of people have made the coils for the MAGRAP, which is different the coils from the coils from the health unit. And this one, on the coils for the MAGRAP, to understand how the flow of energy goes, is you start it. Let's put it again. You start it here, and the gravitational field and the gravitational wire. So you bring the energy to the gravitational coil and the small coils. You feel the energy of all the gravitational fields of gravitational coils, and then goes to the gravitational coils on the outside. And then when you feel the energy of both gravitational field, then it goes back to the magnetic of the small one, and then the magnetical of the outside, and then you have the energy back on the magnetical of this side. So it comes this way and it goes outside. This is the gravitational and magnetical goes out. So as I said here on the bottom, it says the way it feeds the coils is gravitational is counterclockwise and gravitational clockwise, the small and the big one. And then the magnetical counterclockwise and then magnetical counterclockwise of the outside. And the difference of how the energy works on the coils of the health unit is the gravitational, So first you feed gravitational. Here you feed it. It goes all the way, all the gravitational of the small coil, and then the magnetical of the small coil, and then the magnetical feed the gravitational of the big coil, and then the magnetical of the big coil, and goes out. So you connected this one side to the capacitor, and the other one will not be connected to the capacitors. So this one is gravitational magnetical, gravitational magnetical. So the way that the flow of energy goes from this one. And this is a blueprint of the helmet that we use as well. So we have coils and different. This is small coils we normally use for this one. 18 gauge wire, copper wire, to build this small unit. We're starting to use this at the beginning when we start understanding the health unit. Normally with the health unit, with the coils, you use a 16 gauge coil, 16 gauge copper wire, and this one you use 18 gauge copper wire. So on the left side, you see the kind of helmet. So we use little coils in the helmet, and we managed in order to, the direction of every coils, depending on what we wanted to use it for. But also, if we wanted to use this one, it's only just part of the fields. We use this one or this one, but when the people is inside, the head is inside, you want to create something inside. You're going to create, you want to make patches. You create a full of energy. This one, this is made of zinc, all of it. We work on emotions, but also you use patches if you want to change something inside the body. If you want to repair or you want to remove, you have to remove tumors. You're going to use different patches in your head in order to remove those or extract those tumors from the brain. If you want to repair something inside the body, also you're going to use patches to repair. As we explained the last teaching, those patches you can use for repair or to extract energy out of the body. And this one, then we started to use a different shapes, different ways of helmet. And Dr. Klaus Spiller brought this kind of helmet that was practical. It's full of zinc or CO2. You can use different kinds of gas inside. And this one on the left side is just a little changes that I made, but based on the design that Klaus Prelate is made. So you can use either one, but remember, just as a creative field outside of the body. This by itself is not going to work just by itself. Just put it using the helmet. Yes, you use the helmet, it feels the energy. If you use only zinc, you feel the effect. And emotionally, you feel better. But as I explained, you're just creating a field. If you want to target a specific part of the body, part of the brain, you have to add patches with specific GANs, depending what kind of a problem you're gonna resolve inside the brain. But so, as I said, it's only create a field of energy. This is a blueprint of the on the left side. On top is the blueprint of the pens that we're using in order to extract the energy, or that we connected to the salt water, or to bring energy back to the body. And the right side, on the bottom, we have the blueprints of the capacitor that we use for the coils that we're using for the health unit. So you will have the chance to look at them, to see them and the recording, so you can have time to understand all this. Then we came to create a different units using tubes, vinyl tubes, to create a field of energy. We using this one to fulfill with GANs of CO2 and zinc. So that actually what we create is a alkaline field that helps to bring balance to the body. We understand and we know that that when we create diseases in the body, especially cancers, is because it's an acidic state, the body. So we want to create this an alkaline environment as well. When we have this unit here, is part of the protocol. So as well, if you have a person inside, let's see if it's standing up here and you want to change something in the body, you will have patches. Let's see if you have something in your lungs, you will put patches in the lungs. But you create a field, but then the patches will help to either to extract energy, something from the body, or even reconstruct or remove or repair inside the body. This one, the first one, as you saw it in the first slides that I show you about the health unit, the one who creates the one who creates toroids has extract the energy through using the salt to extract the energy out of the body. And this one, it creates a vortex, is connected to the soil, to the ground. So whatever has to be extracted to the body goes to the soil. It is important this because people, I've seen people that create this unit. I'm going to draw over this one, like a table with rings, and putting the people inside the rings. And the people feel great, feel the energy, but sometimes some people start to experience pain inside the rings, of discomfort inside the rings. Well, what I found that we have to ground that energy of this person's. So when there's two ways, when we have this rings, we use these rings in the table and the patient's lying down inside the rings. After that, I suggest to people to go walk outside the house barefoot and ground themselves in the soils, and it will help to extract. I've seen people that receiving text messages and emails from people that are using this, and they complain that the pain lasts a lot of time, even days. So, and when I ask them to walk barefoot on the ground outside, the pain disappeared instantly. So that's Another suggestion for different people is to connect, I haven't done it, to connect wires, copper wires from here to the ground. I haven't done it, so you're welcome to test it. As I said, the best way and faster way to ground this energy of the person is to walk barefoot outside. So this has to be careful. And this is, I'm going to show you the way to make those this health unit made of vinyl or plastic tubes. So I use for this one 1 inch diameter, inside diameter tubing, and inside is a ½ inch tube diameter. This is based on the Mr. K's teaching in the medical field. He taught us that he said, if you can create 2 tubes, it didn't say plastic or glasses. He says, if you have 2 tubes, one inside the other, and you put the different GANs, CO2 and zinc GANs, you create a different fields that will help the people to change, to extract, or to bring balance to the body and be able to bring health to those person as a health unit. So that's why we have this idea to use vinyl and use connectors. So what I use this, I have first one, I have the tube. It's a 1 inch diameter tube. I started to use the length was not 81 inches, but then I made it a little wider, used 99 inches length. So we have a big diameter on the side. As we said in the photo before, the left side, this is 81 inches. You have to stand up, and this one, the other one, is just 99 inches. You can sit down on this one. So once you connect it first, this is easy to connect this connectors, this coppers. You put 1 inch connected, and then you're going to introduce this little one inside. And the best way to do it is you have to use a wire to guide this tube to go inside. If you want to pull, just push it inside the tube, you won't be able to go through all the tube. So you might go a couple of feet inside, but so you have to use a wire. You pull the wire inside, and then you connect it. You make a little hole, you put a wire here, and then you pull it. Pull the coil from the other side, then we pull the wire from the other side, and this tube will go all the way inside the tube. Once it's inside, so it's you have both sides of the tube. The extension of this ½ inch tube. So the first step you're going to do, once you connect introduce a small tube, you're going to put the connectors as a ½ inch or 3/8. It's easy to put a 3/8 inch connector. You can have a ½ inch, but it's a little difficult, so it's better to use on this 3/8. So it goes easy. Once it goes here, you have to fix it because you want to connect each other. So the best way is to fix this with electrical tape, any color you want. Connect it here. Once you put it inside, you tape it. So if you push it this way, you push it inside, you won't be able to go inside, because remember, you have to connect both sides. If you don't fix it, it's going to be impossible to connect each other. So once you connect one side, the other side, you're going to do this step. You're going to push this tube all the way inside the tube, because inside this ½ inch tube, you have a gap. So you're going to push it all the way down inside this tube, and you're going to mark it. As you see on the right side hand, mark it. That's the amount of tube you're going to go inside. You won't have any problems. Then once you mark it here, you pull it out. And then this is the amount of tube that's going to be inside. So do you fix it? You use, again, electrical tape to fix it. side to this jumping hole. So as I said, you fix it. Once you fix it, you cut the excess. This is all the tube you're going to use. Once you have the exact length of the tube, you're going to use this dilator, because the first step, you connect the 3/8 connectors is easy to break. You have to use a little force to put them inside. But once you fill it up with gas, it's not easy to connect each other. So the best way to connect it, I use this dilator. What I use is I use a torch. I heat it up, this one. I put it inside the tube and expand this hole, this diameter inside, in order to connect it back to this coupler. So once I dilated all of it, I use this what's it called? What's it called? Helping me.
The funnel?
Yeah,
funnel. Yes, thank you, Rick. Funnel. That's funnel. So you fill it up with the GANs. You use them inside, as I said. Inside, I use zinc GANs inside, and outside you're gonna use CO2. Once you fill it up with GANs, you remove the funnel and you make the connection. And because this end of the tube is wider, so you have to heat it up. I use this heater, GAN heater, to shrink back again this end of the tube, and then I use a zip ties. Zip ties has both, the one that goes inside and this one. So once you tie them up, this inside remains inside. Then you're gonna remove the tape, and this is the first part. You see, you fill it out the first inner tube, put the zip ties, it's secure. Then you got it. You have the GANs inside. This one, you don't have to dilate. It's easy to go, just a little. You have to, once you fill it up with GANs, it's easy to connect. You put it back, connected to the copper, and then I use heater. The GANs heater, again, I use both sides in order to completely seal. I have no leaks. So then I put a zip ties. Once you have the zip ties, you have it. So you have it, the rings. I have tested with 3 rings. At the beginning, I started to use 2 and then 3 to make tests, but you don't have to. So this is it. You have the tube with the tube inside. You have it's using CO2, as I said, zinc inside and CO2 outside. And the best, this is the different setups of the rings. I suggest if you make this 9 rings, you have, or 10 rings, use the half on the top, CO2 and zinc, and you can add some GANs inside of each one, CO2 and zinc GANs. In every single one, half of that. You want to create a flow of energy. You want to move that energy. So the best way is to use half of that with CO2 and zinc, adding GANs, and the other half on the below, use the same plasma water, zinc and CO2, and you can dilute it with the distilled water, 50%. So 50% zinc, plasma water, and 50% distilled water. And the other one as well, CO2, 50% CO2 plasma water and 50% distilled water. You want to dilute it, this one, in order to create a flow of energy. You want to be strong on the top and weaker on the bottom to create a flow. So in a different, and also the other ways to do it, if you want to create a stronger feel, a flow of energy, you put on the top copper oxide on the top. But this is important. If you want to put, if you want to do this one, the copper oxide, there has to be at least 1 foot above the head. If the head is here, this copper oxide, you don't want the copper oxide on the level of the head. You want it on the top, because we don't use copper on the brain. We don't, inside the brain, we don't have muscle, we don't have cartilage. If you have something on the temporal and the muscles, yes, a different things that you're going to use. But in the health unit, you want to create energy. You started create energy on the top and going down the energy. So you're going to create you want to put the copper oxide 1 foot above the head. So you're going to have the head here. You're going to have the body. And you will create the flow of energy in 1 CH3 on the bottom top. So you pull the energy from the top to the bottom. You create a field, and you can feel it when you are inside. Without this two, you feel the energy going through your body. But when you put this copper oxide on the top and CH3 on the bottom, you feel the energy going through from your head to your feet. So this is the best way to when you use this the rings unit to handle or to manage the energy of the body. You want to extract something from the body. So this is the best way of the best setup of rings in order to create a different flow of energy of the body. Then you can use even small ones. I built this one for pets. I built this for a friend who's a veterinarian, and he started to use it on small pets, and they like to be inside. Once they are inside, even though they didn't have any surgery, just be inside, they like to sleep inside. But sometimes those little pets are a little excited and they go inside, back in. It's hard to keep it inside, so some people use it. Start using a net, or even those little boxes that we use for the pets that fits inside. So you can put a pet inside the box, or this containers that you use for the pets when you travel. So you can put it inside, and it's create a field. They love it. They like to be inside that field. This little kid that was inside, they wanted to use as a playground. They didn't want to go out. The field, they liked it. She likes the field that was created inside. So different ideas how to make those rings for everybody. Then I started using the reactors. This one I have started to use a different mix of GANs, and I came to the conclusion that this is the best way to use it to create an alkaline field inside the body as well. When you're inside this field, you also has to use as patches. If you want to use for a person who have cancer, you're going to put patches depending what kind of a problem, what kind of cancer inside. Remember when I explained that you're going to use the cancer has a seed of some metals, so you create a plasma of those metals, and you make those patches and put on the body, but put them inside. You create a field, an environment. Some people ask me, so is this a healing device? It's not a healing device. It's just an environment so your body can respond by itself. You're having the elements that it needs, the environment, the pH, everything in order to respond in any aggression. So it's creating an environment, pure environment that people start responding and having the experience. So in this one, as you see, I started to put, as it says here, 10 milliliters of zinc. Is 10 milliliters are actually GANs. These little balls, I can fill it up with 15 cc of 15 milliliters of liquid inside. So what I use, I put 10 milliliters of GANs, zinc GANs, and the rest 4 milliliters of plasma GANs, of zinc GANs. I don't fill it up completely. I leave a little bit, 90%. I just fill it up 90%. You leave a bubble. And you will see when you rotate those reactors, you will see tubing. And this the first one started to work on this reactor was the first one I saw. This was Rick. This was the one he started to use this reactors that I had that idea from him to use it in different gas for the health unit. So then you started to create a field from the top and the bottom. Then 8 milliliters you see on the right side, 8, 6, 2, 10. So it means that this is amounts of GANs. So as you see with this one is I create two things. This the whole column is stronger than this second column, and this second stronger is stronger than this. So it creates a field from the top to the bottom, but as well as a vortex flow of energy. So it comes from the top of the bottom. And on the bottom, I built this one. On the top of the bottom, I have tested with different GANs, with CS3, with the I started to use the CS3 on the bottom, and then I put CO2 with the same amount. As you see here, the CO2 comes from 10 to 0.5, even only plasma. On the bottom, I put the same amount, 10, even stronger. And I've seen people that are coming inside and feel the energy, starting to feel, I started to see better response to the body. So the field goes from the top of the bottom, it creates a vortex, and also it feels the energy goes back to the body. And as I said, people starting to feel better. I've seen people with tumors that started to respond faster. People who had pain and their in the spinal back and under her back, and they respond faster. Everyone started to respond better with this setup. As we said, we are testing, we are learning how to use this different kinds of GANs. You're welcome to use it, but when you use it, test it, and test this on patients and make tests, blood tests, and see MRIs to see how the effects of the tumors, how they respond. So we're learning how to use this, but so far this is the best way to use this dynamic reactors with different GANs. And you can sit down inside is because also when I stand up in this unit, yes, I feel the energy coming from the top to the bottom, but when I sit up, it's like collecting it feels stronger because it seems like collecting all the energy on the top and goes down to the body and feels stronger, that feel. So there's a different setups of energy. For this one, every single one I use for every column, a transformer, 12 volts, 1.5 amps for every single column. You can control 6 dynamic reactors. Every single one has their own transformer. This transformer is controlled as 5, and as well as every single one. So one of them has on the top, so connected. So it's I use one transformer for every 5 or 6 reactors. If you can see, and I use this connector, female and male connectors, to create this wires, to make those wires and make the connections. And remember, we have tested the field that you create using the GANs inside the reactors. If you connect those reactors with electricity, the regular electricity, you plug it into the wall, it feels the energy, but it's totally different if you connect it to the MEGRAF. You're turning the energy to plasma. So it's plasma the one is feeding the reactors. It's totally different energy. It feels different, and the response to the body is totally different. So I've seen people, they buy in the dynamic reactors and they put them in the columns, and then they plug it in the wall and they feel the energy. Yes, it feels the energy, but it's totally different energy if you feed those reactors from the MEGRAF. So it has to be a MEGRAF. In this one, I put a wireless connector, so I controlled all the the dynamic reactors with this wireless connector, this control. The red to stop it and the green to turn it on all together. And then I built this one. It has one reactor on the top, one on the bottom, and two on the sides. The size is, the way I see it, when the people sit down, you put this two on the level of the head, on the soul level. So the way I see it, the one on the top, you work on the emotions on the people, and the bottom you work on the physicality. But as well, if you have something in the brain, you can use as a mix of GANs. This one you use different mix of GANs. The other one, as I said, I create an environment, but this one, even though it's smaller, but it's more specific. You make the different GANs. You change the GANs inside those reactors. You can use a different mix of GANs. All of them, depending what kind of problems you have. Let me give you an example. If you're going to put a person who have Alzheimer, I will use this reactors. I will put zinc on the top. I will put on the sides this two. I will use CO2. I will use potassium, calcium, folic acid, GANs out of it. And then on the bottom, I will use CH3. You create a field of energy. You can change energy. You can create anything. You create like a cocoon. The body will be inside and feel the energy. I had the experience that one person came to this unit, and this lady who was sitting down here, as I said here, and with the legs like yoga or position was like this, and it started to feel the energy, starting to feel weird inside. Even it touched her emotions and started to cry. It feels weird inside. But as soon as she put her leg on the floor, all the energy disappeared. All that feel, the strange feel that she started to have inside disappeared. Extract all the energy, started to feel better. But once she sat inside with the legs bending inside, the energy was so strong, the energy was accumulated inside the body and started to feel weird. It says it was weird, the emotion was strong, it started to cry. But as soon as you put, as I repeat, as soon as she put the foot in the ground, she ground the energy. So that's why it's important to ground the energy of the body. We have different energies. We have to ground it. So people they sit down, they have to put the feet on the ground and they feel better. So to understand the fields, it is very important when we mix fields. So it's just a little example how the field changes. If you have an orange juice and then the other side you have a grape juice, there's a different feels, different taste, like a recipe, kitchen recipe. But if you mix it, it's no longer going to be a grape juice or orange juice. It's going to be a different taste, a different energy. So once we have this, we're starting to mix different GANs, plasma GANs, it's going to be a different energy. Like this, for an example, this one have a container with zinc GANs. And let's suppose the energy of this GANs is a purple. This is the energy of the zinc. And this, the other side, we have CO2 GANs. And there's the energy of the CO2 GANs. When you mix it, it's no longer CO2 GANs or zinc GANs. It's a mix. It's a different energy. It's totally different energy. This is to understand how the energy works. And this is an example as well when you cook, when you are in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're making food. Depends what kind of emotions you put on, and that time you're making the food, that's the energy that's going to be in the food. So remember, the body has a lot of magnetic gravitational fields. It's full of plasma, full of energy. It's energy. So there's different devices that we can prove that energy surrounding your body. So, and that field the fields change according to your emotions and the body condition. It's a different colors, different kinds of energy. So if you're gonna have, let's see, at that time they're gonna create the zinc GANs. You have the energy. This is energy of love. This is you feel love in that moment, and you have that energy around your body. And when you mix, when you build in this Zingans, you mix it. This Zingans is going to be Zingans with love. That's the way you have to understand. We're mixing fields. You are in plasma state. You are in plasma state. You have a field out of your body. You interact with the GANs, with the field of the other GANs. You interact and you mix yourself with that. You blend your energy with the energy of the GANs. So you make it. You put yourself inside those GANs. If you have, he says, okay, I'm going to build all this to make money. Money, if you're thinking to make money, is lack. You don't have. If you think of money because you don't have, you put lack inside that field. It's a field of lack. So you're creating something with lack, with no energy. That's what you're going to have back, nothing. So it's very important. What are you thinking when you're making those GANs? What are your thoughts? What are your intentions when you make them? That is going to be inside of those GANs you're making. Even the health unit, remember what Claudia Thier saw on this unit is the consciousness of the body of the person who made those energy. So depending what energy, what thoughts you put in when you create it, that's going to be inside. How many times we have heard that people said, oh, I trust this a doctor. When I go to visit a doctor, I feel great. As soon as I see him, I feel great. I have so much faith on him. And the faith that I have on him or on her, I start feeling better. Now we have to understand on a different level, a science of this. Why that happened is because your energy, you feel, if you as a healer, you have a field of energy, and that's your intention, and it's a strong field because you really want to help that people. And it's not just an energy that it goes around you like a 1 or 2 feet. It's a strong field. It's going wider. It can cover the whole room. So when the people comes to you, that interacts with the field of yourself, the field of the healer, and that's because a stronger field, it has a lot of intentions and good intentions to heal the person. That's why the person have that feeling in the moment they see the doctor. Oh, as soon as I feel the doctor, I see the doctor. Oh, it's my faith that heal myself. In a way, it is, but scientists more. I mean, to understand more is the field that person interacts with strong field and changes. That's what happened. That's what the healer, when the healer changed the person. So that's why not all the healers have the same response. We have seen even using the same technique, even if you're a healer using acupuncture, and seen, oh, there's a lot of people that know exactly the technique to use the needles, but they don't have. And there's another people that once one of the people have. If we have 2 people, one with both of them have experience all the thing, they know perfectly the technique, and one of them has better result than the other. It's because the intention. What is the intention of the other healer? So if one of the healer have a good intention, love and intentions to really help people, that is stronger field. That will have better result than the one who doesn't have that field, that intent. So, and a lot of doctors, a lot of healers have the intention of really heal to help people, but not all. A lot of them as well have the intention to make money. That's why they don't have the same results. Even they know the technique, they apply the same technique, no different whatsoever, but the results are different because they haven't been able to understand is the energy of the healer will really work, what it does, when it makes a difference. It's not just the needle or the unit that we use, is your intention the one who changed it. So if you're a healer, you put the intention of love, the intention of heal really to help people, the intention of love. That's the kind of energy is going to be around that field, that unit that you make. That's the result is going to depend on that. I shared the experience of I built to my mother a health unit, a ring unit, and she is starting to use on different family members and starting to have a beautiful response. But another person came and took photos and replicate the whole system, the whole ring, and build it, make the GANs, build the unit, and this person was starting to say that it didn't have the same response. We have to understand what kind of intentions were putting on that moment that you were building the unit. Is to using different people in order to make money, or using this unit in order to heal, to help people? It's going to be a different energy, and that's the energy you're going to be affected the body. So you have to understand what we want when we build this unit. So this because of this, using different energy fields will allow us to restore the body to its original health state. So depending, it's not, as I said, the body of animals, everyone can use these energy fields, not this unit, not just for human, but everyone can use it. So that's the intention. If you have the intention of love to bring people inside, as we said, the stronger field will change the weaker. So we change the person inside and it becomes different. Because we have to understand, aging is a disease. This body was made to last more years than we used to have. As Mr. Guest has seen lately, that we work in the unit that once we have not only a unit, but a field that we can use on the whole world, that people will start living longer with health, with youth, not aging, and we'll live a lot longer. So this is a goal as well of this technology, to make those changes on the people. So the health unit for me is a training devices, because you are the one who make those changes. You are the one who create. Your own energy is the one who's going to make those changes, not the technology. The technology, as I said, is only helping you to bring your intentions to people to make those changes. Once you understand, the whole process is going to be different. In order to achieve this goals, is you have to understand that you are soul. You exist because you are the soul. You are the one who had the power within you. You are the one who have the intentions to change people. In order to make changes, you have to understand that everything is here and now. What does it mean? You have to understand the past doesn't exist anymore. If you create in your mind, you living in the past, you living in the emotions and the victimization of what happened in your life, you bring this kind of energy in the future, in the present and the future. You're creating over and over the same thing. But if you live in the now, since now you don't have anything. The past is the past. It's past already. Doesn't exist. You live in the now. Whatever you want now is what you're going to have. But you have to understand, you have to start believing in yourself. You are the one who has the power. Once you understand that you live in the now, that the past doesn't exist. So the past is the diseases. The past is the illness. Is the past. You don't have it. You have to believe in yourself that you have the power. That's when you understand that your wish is your command. Because it's you the one who's going to make the changes. As I've said many times, this unit, that devices, is just a training devices to make us understand, to feel, to the power that is within. That we are the one who's making those changes, not the unit. The unit has, those units have your consciousness, your intention, your love inside. And this is the most powerful field, more than the GANs, more than the coils, more than the ring, more than the reactors. But it takes time. As I said, it's a training devices, training. We are understanding little by little. I've seen people at the beginning when I started, even myself, when I started to use this technology, the effect that I see in the people was when I started to see the effects was after several days. But now, the more I understand this technology, the more I put myself inside, the effects are faster. So as I said, we're learning. We'll learn how to use this technology. If you have any questions, please.
Yes, please. It's Frederic from France. I have a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So if I understood well, when you show the connections for the coils, the nano-coated coils, you said that the inner coil was not the same direction that the outer coil, isn't it? One is magnetical, for example, the inner, and the outside. The outside one. Sorry.
No, I guess I'm gonna go to show you this. This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you do it, I thought we have to do it all the same directions, you know? But when you talk, I understood, maybe I didn't understand well. I understood you tell us that we have to do the inner one in one direction and the outer one in another direction.
No, it's the flow of energy. When you have the coils, let's see, all the coils, you make all the coils counterclockwise, all the coils, you make the coils. But you have a lot of ends. You have the different connections. When you connect, you are the one who will decide the flow of energy. Depends how do you connect each other? How do you connect the coils?
Okay. Thank you.
So this one goes inside because the connections you make, the green one, it goes inside, and then from the green one goes all the way inside and then connected the green to the blue. So it's the green is the gravitational, and then the blue one is the magnetical. So you decide where the flow of the energy, regardless of how you make those coils. If you make it all the coils counterclockwise or clockwise, it doesn't matter. It's the connections. You decide the flow of energy.
Okay. Thank you.
Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Next question, Fred.
Next question. So I have been in a health unit, you know, made with some copper wire, nano-coated, and we have the opportunity to be laid, you know, like in a bed.
Yes, lying down.
Yes, and I was wondering, because you said hers that if it's plasma unit with some liquid gases, we have to work after being in the machine, so all bad energies will go in the earth, you know, we have to ground. So I was wondering, it's probably the same thing for the nano-coated copper coils machine.
Yes, for the copper machine, copper wires, you use the salt water. So you connect the wires to the salt water if you want to extract some energy out of the body.
Okay.
But with the rings, you don't have salt water. Normally, it creates a vortex field that is grounded. The same vortex is grounded on the bottom. That's why I've seen people or texted people that ask me, so why I have pain when I build the rings, as I build a bed with the rings and the people were inside. It feels great, the energy, but some of the people start feeling pain and discomfort inside. And as soon as I told them, okay, allow the people to walk outside the house barefoot, they ground the energy, is starting to feel better.
Oh, okay, I understand. And for the salted water, do we have to change the pot between each persons? I mean, if you
that questions, we made it to Mr. Guest. No, you don't have to. You don't have to change. At the beginning, when we all started to build these units, we started to say, hey, we have to change the salt water for every person because it's going to be contaminated with the person. No, we don't have to. It's not a contamination. It's just the same water. Just you don't have to change it. Once you put it, you extract it, you don't have to change it.
Okay. Thursday, in the teaching, I heard Mr. Cage saying that gases were drained, you know, when they equilibrate they don't last forever, and at times comes where they are all drained and we have to change it. So I was wondering if you made NELF MAGRAV units with plasma tubes, you have to change it sometimes. So I was wondering, how many times do you think we can keep these GANs? Is there, maybe it depends about how many people are using it, and
well, if you started to see any changes inside the rings, you might have to change it. If you see it, I haven't seen any changes.
Okay.
But if you feel, you started to see that the rings or the plasma inside the ring started to change, you might have to change it.
Okay.
This is about experience. This is a matter of time.
Yeah,
now,
I know.
Since I have the dynamic reactors, I haven't used that much the ring, so that's why I haven't seen much changes in the ring. I stopped using the rings because I have the dynamic reactors, and I use more the coils. Personally, I have more experiences when I have people who have muscle problems, ligament problems. The coils works better than the other one, than the coils, than the dynamic reactors. So if a person comes to me that has back problems or knee problems, I use the coils health unit. It has better response than if I use the dynamic reactors with CO2 and zinc, because the coil has copper. The copper works on the muscles, and the ligament has stronger field that works on the muscles. So every single unit has a specific, there's a different energy, every single one. And I started to learn how to use those energy depending on what kind of problems the person has.
Okay, thank you. When you have a paint pad, for example, made of GANs, as Mr. Skesh said that GANs won't last forever, but I was wondering if he said that GANs water won't last forever, but if there's some matter, GANs matter in it, will it last forever or no?
Okay, good questions. I experienced people that come to me and I make patches, different patches for different diseases, different problems, and they go inside the unit. As I said, that diseases will have different energy. You want to extract that energy. And those patches that I built that make for a specific condition, they started to change. They're starting to turn black, all of them. And they changed, so I had to change those patches, and the response is better. So when, and at some point, the people start the see that effect on the patches, and the effect is less. So as soon as I change it for the new one, it started to feel better. So they changed it. Those patches extract energy out of your body. It's extracting, so they change. It's not so that how long it's going to last. It's how long, when are going to change. And when they change, you have to change it.
Okay, it's we do like we feel, in fact. Okay. Or if it's change color, or it doesn't feel any more effect, we just change it.
Yes.
Okay. And I was wondering, well, you know, some people maybe just don't have any love for anybody or for nothing. If that kind of people is making some GANs or a material without feeling any love for nobody or for nothing, or just feeling some hate, will the material be, well, it won't be effective probably, but can it be bad, you know, and make people sick or hurt them?
I don't think they will harm them, but they won't have the same effect as you wanted if somebody built it with a good intention and love. That's what is important to teach people well, to teach them well, not just technically. That's what we have to understand what we're making. It's just not, okay, I'm going to make GANs, and I'm going to teach people how to make GANs, and that's it. Make GANs. You have to understand why you're making GANs, for what reason you're making GANs, what is your intention. So as well, also, if you had intention, okay, this is you, I have intentions to heal people, but someday you don't feel well, you don't feel good, you are in a bad mood, and you go in yourself to start making those GANs. You put in that intention. And as I said, when you make food, how many times you go to a restaurant and after you eat, you feel bad. You feel bad with that food that you ate is probably was contaminated. It wasn't contaminated. It's no. What happened is what kind of intention the cook had on that moment. Probably they were fighting and they have a and that was put in that food. So somebody's.
Go ahead. Yeah, the mic was open. Go ahead.
Okay, somebody, if you eat that food that was made with bad intention, that cook that had no good feelings, you eating that energy. That's why you have problems when you ate that problem. I went to a restaurant and after that food, I don't like it. I don't like that food. I used to go with that restaurant. They used to have good food, but now they're not making a good food. Is really the food that was affecting you, or is the intentions put in that food when it was created that have an effect on yourself? So is the cook, the people who's making that dishes, that food is the energy that you're eating. Probably the person who owns the restaurant buys the best food, the organic food, but the cook at that time, it doesn't have the good intention. It's not going to be the same food. You have to understand the energies, how to work with energies all over the world. As I say, once you understand how the world works, is a different scenario. I have said many times, this is a playground. Once you understand the rules, you're starting to enjoy better. But everything is energy, everything. Any other question, Fred? Any other question?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, thank you. It was very interesting. And no, I have no more questions, but I thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? This is the last teaching.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Libby.
Thank you.
Hi, Liberty.
Hi, Dr. Rodriguez, and good morning, and I'm so glad you're doing this with us. I, too, reacted to the statement that the GANs did get drained, and I've been trying all weekend to really understand, and I think you've answered the question. It is our intentions that fuel the power of the GANs. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. You intensify the field. You have a feel of it. The GANs have their own field, but you have also a field. You're a stronger field. You're a plasma unit, so you have a stronger field. You're feeding that GANs. The stronger field feeds the weaker. So whatever GANs you create, you're feeding that when you are in and when you are building those GANs.
And that's why, even though Mr. Kesh said that we would have to replace the waters in our health units every day or between each person. However, I don't believe you did, because it'd be pretty hard to replace the GANs waters in those tubes. But because your intention is so pure, you keep the GANs fueled. Even if they're drained, your intention overrides the drain. Would that be a correct understanding?
Yeah, he didn't say that you have to change the liquid of the coils of rings every day. No,
oh, I thought he did. I'm sorry.
No, he did not. No,
okay.
No. You drain it. Once you're inside the rings, the energy is being extracted and it's going to be grounded. That's what it creates a vortex energy. It goes to the ground. It goes to the soil. But in the future, some people might start to see changes inside the GANs inside the rings, and they might have to change it. As I said, I used it for a long time. I have it. I still have it. I have my here in my own room, but I don't have seen changes. And about the water, the salt water that I use in the coast, I personally asked the questions to Mr. Casey. We have to change this. He says, no, the salt water, we don't have to change this. The ring, he has said the ring, the plasma ring, you have to change this every day, and the reactors you have to use for every disease. So as I said, let me show you. We had this unit that has to create an environment, alkaline environment. But now we have this one. Me personally, I think this is more powerful. This is with less unit, but this one you use different GANs. If you have different people every day, you're gonna use different GANs inside, different plasma GANs every day, for depending on what person you're using it. As I said, I've given an example of people with Alzheimer's, but if you have another disease and other problems, you changes the GANs inside this cords. I have CH3 here, but if I have a person with cancer, I won't put CH3 here. I will just put a CO2. Depends what kind of diseases, what kind of problems you have. You will change that plasma liquid inside every day. Depends if you have every day you have a different person. You have changed it. What I have a different collections of spheres, this with different GANs. So depends what kind of a person is going to come, I use those spheres or those dynamic reactors. I just changed the spheres, the bulbs, with the specific GANs, or depending what kind of a disease I'm going to treat.
Now, those balls, do you change the GANs inside of them?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Yes, but I have plenty of those balls. So what I have is let me write here down. What I said is I have different balls. I have like this one mixed with CO2 with calcium, and another have CO2 with potassium, and another have the CO2 with potassium, with calcium, with magnesium. I have different ones. So I have different ones. If a person comes that I need this one, I put this one here. If it's a different person that I need only potassium, I use this one. If I have a person who needs magnesium, I use this one here. But I have different balls, and I save them, I store them in different places. So whatever person is going to come, I change just this little ball. This.
Okay, I think I'm starting to understand, but I thought I understood that even those GANs in the balls, they do get drained because they bring balance to the person, and once they're in balance, they are no longer have the same strength that we need for the human body. And this is no? Okay, I'm still trying to understand this. Thank you. I'm getting a little bit more clarity, but it was a real surprise to me to find out that these little suns that I thought would last forever actually do get drained. And that's what I'm trying to understand is, does our intention override the draining? Like, if you know how powerful these GANs are, and if they are drained, is your intention, well, I think I know the answer, your intention is more powerful than that anyways, so that would keep them active? Or am I not quite sure if I've understood it correctly, that all the GANs, because I believe he said even in our dynamic reactors, we needed to change the GANs on a regular basis.
No, he said that use different GANs for different diseases or different ages or different genders. Use a different. You have to understand. You want to stop playing with the GANs, but not that you have use. Every day you're gonna change this. You don't have to change those GANs inside every day.
Thank you so much,
If
Doctor.
I have let's see, two persons with the same problem, I'm not gonna change those GANs. I'm gonna leave it the same way, the same setup for those two persons who have the same problem.
Hi, Rodrigo. This is Danny.
Hi, Danny.
I have a question now. It's great that you have the picture up there with the dynamic reactors. My question relates to the RPM of the rotating reactors. And
Okay.
I remember you saying it should be very, very low. So I was just wondering if you could
I put
speak
between 4 and 6,000 RPM. Normally, these reactors can go even to 18,000 RPM. I don't use that. It just between 4 and 6 RPM.
So between 4,000 and 6,000 RPM, or between
Yes, that's what I use it. And I see that if I use at that RPM, I started to see that little bubble. It forms like the cylinder inside. So the new ones, this one doesn't have the control with the RPM mark. The new ones that I have, that's starting to have from Chenlin, have the control with the RPM numbers, so you can control it. You can see how much, how the speed of those reactors.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And thank you, Dr. Rodrigo. I think there's still some clarity that I need, because I thought I did hear him say that, and I helped to transcribe that. So it is the clarity. Did you happen to hear that workshop on Thursday? It was in the 3-hour, 15-minute mark or so. And it really was a reverberation for me to try to understand. And my only understanding, because I know you're doing fabulous work and your intention is so strong, your purity is so strong that it gets into everything you're doing. And I believe that was the lesson Mr. Kesh was really trying to teach us, was that our intentions are so powerful that in fact we don't, well, he didn't say that, but my understanding from being in these classes that we don't really need anything but ourselves and the purity of our intention and the desire to help people find balance is more powerful than anything else. And from listening to you and how much you've given to us as students, I really believe that is the case. But he did, from my understanding, say that we needed to change the ganses on a regular basis. We needed to change it on our breathing apparatus. We needed to change it in our pads. We needed to change it much more regularly than heretofore I realized. And I was just looking for clarity on that. And I don't question you at all, Dr. Rodrigo. Your heart and soul is in everything you do. And I guess that's what you're really teaching us as well, is that the purity of your soul, your desire to serve is so powerful that gets passed to the patient, to the client. And from there, they still are the pilots of their own ship. So if they are not able to turn themselves around, that's where taking 100% responsibility for our own well-being comes into play. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I have another question here. It's from a person on Facebook. How often do you use these devices, and would one become dependent on it in the long run?
Often, well, people, depending on this, the promise, but I've seen people with cancer that use between 3 to 6 months, depending on the people. I've seen changes, and like it varies in every person. You cannot, I mean, as I said, we're learning how to use this. Not all the people have the chances to come that often. You would like to use it. You would like people to come every day to on a regular basis and to see the effects, but not all the people have the chance to come. You want them to use it more often, but it's not all the people have the opportunity to come or the chance to come. They have to travel. They have only a few days off of work, and they come and they see the effects. But people that have severe diseases like cancer, they have come for 3 or 4 months, and 5 is the longest they have come and have changed. But not all the people come that are able to come that often. So it depends. We're learning how to use this. We wanted to find a way to use it only once or twice and be able to make that changes. And also, it's us to believe in ourselves and understand ourselves. And that's what we do. And as I said, this advice is also training devices for us to understand our intentions, to believe in ourselves, that we can work on that. But also, that's very important, what the other person wants. You can put all your intention, you can put all your love, you can put all the technology inside that can, that you can change a lot of people. But if that person doesn't want to continue the life, you're not will be able to make any changes. So it's not just by yourself. You have the intention. Yes, you have you raise your soul. You have the intentions to change it, but also they have the free will. They have the free will. They decide by themselves. I have seen people, they make everything and there's no response. People don't respond because people don't want to leave. How many times Mr. Cash have told us different examples, like the person who brought the sight back, and she said, "I don't want my sight back because without I have all the people around me. I like the people around me. They didn't want to have the sight back." And people who have fibromyalgia, some of those people don't want to they don't want to feel good. They don't want to heal themselves. They say, yes, I want it, but knowing that if they heal themselves, they're not going to have all the people around them. Says, no, I don't want to be healed. So regardless of your intentions, of your love you put in the devices, if that person doesn't want to make the changes, you're not gonna make those changes. So you have to understand, everyone has their own decision. Everyone has their own will. And you have to respect it. There are people come and says, I don't want to leave anymore. I'm sick of this life. I don't want to leave. People that my family bring me to these devices, but I don't want to leave. What are you going to do? You cannot do anything. I know you have the intentions to make those changes, but if this person doesn't allow you to go to help him, you won't be able to do anything. And you have to understand that. One of the advice that I give of persons, don't get involved on those people. Remember, those persons that are sick, that have diseases, they create their own diseases. With all due respect, you don't have to be responsible. You don't have to feel responsible for that. You want to help them, yes, but also they have to put their side to make those changes. Because if you are involved, if you start involving yourself to those persons, you get that emotions, you get that energy. You're gonna start having those problems. You getting that energy, you receiving that energy back to you. You extract energy out of the body, but as you said, you have a body, you feel the energy, you have a field of energy, very strong energy, and a strong field, you change the other person, but you extract that. If you're not prepared to do that, you receiving, you get that energy. I know a lot of healers, different kind of techniques they're using. And some of them, if they don't understand that fields of energy they're working on, they absorb that energy and starting to feel, to be ill, to have those diseases. Yes, we would like to have a beautiful world without diseases, but not all the people are ready for that. There's a lot of suffering all over the world, and they are sick of that suffering. So you are understanding this technology, but we're understanding how to change the whole world. We're working on it. We want to create that energy all over the world, but not all the people are ready. And you have to understand that. You have to be careful, very careful when you're dealing with people with diseases. You help them, you have the intention, but help them. Don't be involved in the emotionally, because you will receive that energy. You'll be affected. Trust me, I've seen many people, many healers, they're involved in emotions of people, and they got sick. Another question?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rodrigo. Yes, this is from Katya. And she says, good morning, Dr. Rodrigo. If someone has a medicine shunt next to the ear, where is the best place to use the patches? The intent is to heal the neck in the flowing of the liquid of the brain to the spine, which is nearly blocked by some blood that is sticking in this area. Is it still forbidden to use health coil units?
I didn't hear well when they have one in the ear. Can you repeat the question, please, Flint?
Yes, if someone has a medicine shunt next to the ear.
That word, I don't understand. I have what?
I think she means like a tube or next to the ear, which you can physically inject stuff into. It's coming out. They have something that's embedded into that area of the head. And they're asking if that's there, where is the best place to use the patches, because that shunt or that way to put medicine in the body is to help the flowing of the liquid of the brain to the spine.
So let me see.
That must be the valves they use to let the pressure of the brain go down to the column. La válvula encefalorraquídea.
Yes, I understand. Yes, I know. Thank you, John. I know. Yes, if you have implants inside the brain, do not use this technology. Do not use. If you have implants, shunts inside, you have a tube inside the connector. So, or I know drains. They used to connect from the brain outside and then go inside your body. Do not use these technologies. Because what we have to understand, these units, we create an environment so your body can respond against the aggression, against the disease. You are the one you are the one who's going to bring balance to your body. Don't see this technology as this is going to heal me. No, it's not going to heal you. It's just we create an environment and bring the elements that your body needs in order to make those changes. If those implants is integration is not part of the body will want it to reject, to expel those tubes out of the body. So you cannot use patches, you cannot use that unit if somebody has implants, because your body will start to or want to reject those elements inside your body. Do you have a tube? Go ahead, Clint.
And the same goes for pacemakers, artificial joints, and stuff like that.
Pacemakers, yes, because it's a frequency, it's a battery, and also this again has the different frequencies, and it might have experience of stop the battery, block the battery, and stop the pacemaker. So we have to be careful not to use that. Definitely do not use anything if somebody has a pacemaker. You have somebody has joint replacement and hip replacement. I have had people who have, let's see, somebody has a hip replacement and have cancer. Are you going to use it? I will. With all respect, I will use it. Have cancer, there's no other options. I will use it. And I've seen people have hip replacement, hip implants or knee implants. They experience a little heat inside the around the knee or around the hips or around the those implants. But if they have cancer, I will use them. I explain them the effect of this technology on those implants. They might start to have experience heat, pain, something. But if it's cancer, I will use it. But if I have a pacemaker, I won't use it, even if I had cancer, because for the cancer you have to treat it a long time. But if you put those paper inside the unit, the heart might stop in that second or a few minutes after they've been inside the unit. So you have to evaluate the risk. So that's why there's no rules. Medicine, and as in the medical field, we don't say we have diseases. We have people. Let me give you an example. Cold, a simple cold. There's some people that might have a runny nose. Some other people have stuffy nose. Some other people have stuffy nose, runny nose, headache, fever, cough. And it's the same virus. So the person responds different ways against that virus. So that's why we don't say in the medical field, we have diseases. We have patients. And every patient is different. Every people is different. So you have to evaluate all those stuff. When you have a person, you have to evaluate. What is the risk using one or the other? If it's worth it or not. You have to evaluate every single person. As well, if somebody has a valve in the brain, has cancer, and so, or other disease, which one is more important? You have to evaluate. I'm not saying, okay, using all those person. You have to evaluate every single person. You have to talk to them. You have to make them understand, explain the risk of using one or the other. This is the way we use this technology, because we're learning now to use it. So, but we have to be careful how to use it and when to use it and what kind of person are we going to use this technology. We're learning. That's going to be a moment that is going to be, the change is going to be instantaneous. But not now. We're learning. We're in the process of learning all this technology. So we have to be careful and evaluate every single person individually. That's why, and also techniques. I've seen I'm a plastic surgeon. Somebody asked me, use this technique to all the person? No. If I use like a facelift, I have a technique, a different technique, depends what kind of problem I have that person. No surgeries, every person has a different technique. If somebody comes and learn a specific technique and want to apply that technique to every person, it's going to have a lot of problems on other people, because it's not the technique that we have to learn. We have to understand the techniques, understand the bodies. There's different. The body responds different ways depending on what kind of technique we're going to use. So as well, this unit, this technique, this technology, we have to understand this technology and use it. As I said, I have in my room 4 different devices, and I'm not using the same devices in all the person. Depends what kind of problem they have. I use that devices. I'm learning as well. Everyone is learning.
Thank you. A couple more here. Yeah, from Jay here. Where does the energy of a tumor go when it comes out of the body and down the wire with your coil health unit?
What is the energy of the tumor?
Yeah, where does it? He's asking, where does the energy of the tumor go?
If you have the, okay, I can answer this question. If we have the coils unit, you will see that salt water, it might change a little bit. I've seen with the Paul jet tube technique that he uses the bath on people with different diseases, and he experienced a different sediments on the bottom of the bathtub or the swimming pool. He sees the color of those sediments different depending on the diseases, and I started to experience that. So I started to use those baths. That's the way that Paul teach us how to use it, the different kinds of GANs use on those baths. And you see that energy coming out of the body, the sediments on the bottom is different depending on what kind of a cancer or depending on what kind of disease you have. It's a color, it's red, black, brown, red. It's a different intensity of the color, different colors. So every disease is different energy you have inside the body, and it's being extracted. With using the coils, the rings, I don't see any changes. I haven't seen any changes in the rings. But as I said, when I use the patches, I've seen changes in those patches. The color of those patches change. Sometimes I've seen they turn red, intensive red. Sometimes it turns black, intense black. They weren't black, and it changes in a couple of weeks after they start using it. So extract the energy out of the body. Some people at the beginning we're starting to see a lot of black spots and the CO2 and zinc patches. They see, okay, it might be fungus, and we're starting to use copper oxide inside a drop of copper oxide inside those patches. Okay, we start seeing that, but then we start seeing the whole patch start to change, and I've seen it as I have more experience with people. That the color change is not because it's contaminated, it's fungus. It's because the energy has been extracted from the body. That's what I've seen.
Thanks. Okay. Is there a blueprint available for the dynamic reactors portable health unit, the one you're showing on the screen now? It seems to be easier to build than the one with the rings.
This one?
That one, I think, yeah.
No, I just build them.
Is there a blueprint?
I posted on Facebook with 2 coils on the top and the bottom. I'm gonna post it with this one with 4, but I'm still testing with different diseases. I want to put more information on that. That's what I haven't posted on the Facebook, but I will post it on the Facebook, the unit with 4 reactors, dynamic reactors, this one. But as I said, I'm testing different people and having different results. So once I collect more information, I will post it, because a lot of people start asking questions and I want to have those answers and not just posting a different one without any answers.
Okay.
But basically what it says is, if you see here on the bottom, has the let's see. Here is the Meg graph. If you see, there's a Meg graph who feeds every single, this wires feeds the 2 on the bottom, and inside the tube is another wire that feeds this one, and on the bottom, this one comes from here. So everyone, but it feeds, everything is fed by the background is behind here. But soon I will post it in the background. As I said, as soon as I started to make a little different test, I will post it on Facebook with different, and explaining how to use different GANs inside the reactors.
Yeah, that's good to note that all of the power for the motors is coming from MAGRAV. It's not directly hooked into the wall.
Yes.
That makes a big difference in the field generations.
Rodrigo?
Yes, John.
Yeah, I think a big mix-up about changing the GANS water and whatever is we always talk about GANS, and we've got to make a big difference between GANS and GANS water. GANS water, yes, could lose some power, but I imagine the GANS doesn't lose the power at all. If the GANS is properly made, the quality of the GANS won't vary, will it?
Yes, you're right. Yes, when I make or use those coils, I put GANs on that. And those spheres, I put GANs inside. Even if I'm gonna use calcium, I put GANs of calcium inside, not just the plasma water. I put actually the calcium made already GANs of that. I put GANs to make it stronger field.
Dr. Rodrigo?
Yes, Alan.
Good day.
Good day.
I would like to add one thing that maybe the student here, they didn't understand it very well. We are dealing with magnets. Magnets, even in the liquid plasma or GANS plasma, they are magnets. So if you apply it to a patient, this magnet will pull out the illness of this person. Any person come to these units, if you use it for another person, you need to change the units. That means you need to change the water, if it's the water, or gases, if it's gases, because it's full of, it's pulling out from this person, this illness or this disease or this energy. So this energy, you need to change it for other person. Thank you, Dr. Rodrigo.
Dr. Rodrigo, I have a question. This is Dimitri. I'd just like to, firstly, I'd like to thank you for this presentation. I've seen quite a few of your presentations and they are all mind expanding and filled with beautiful knowledge. We are very grateful.
Thank you.
My question is, it's reverting back to something that you mentioned earlier on about healers taking on the disease of the people they are processing. What can we do as human beings without using any technology to minimize that and to prevent the healer taking on the energies and the personalities of this person? How can we protect ourselves?
Protect ourselves. Also, it's not taking the energy.
Maybe I should give you some background if that's not too much time. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I had a friend come and live with me for a month, and he was bipolar, and he stayed for a month. And when he left, I had taken on many traits in his personality and his energies, and it caused a huge disturbance for me for many months. And it took me like 4 or 5 months to get myself back to my normal self. And I have not finished with him. There is a lot of work that I wish to do with him, but I can't go through situations like that again. And I just wish to be able to, not be so gravitational when it comes to processing him, and just to to be able to protect myself from that, please?
Yes, the first thing that, you know, the word impact. How many times you feel emotions, or you feel emotions of somebody, you feel depressed and you don't know, you don't understand why you feel depressed. Once I ask myself, if their emotions are not mine, who might that be? If it's I'm starting to name persons, and once you understand that those emotions, those feelings are not mine, I start to feel better. That depression is starting to go away. Once you understand that are not mine, you're trying to understand, okay, this is not mine because I have no reason to be depressed. I start to feel better. But if I understand what those emotions from what person come from, that release that energy. The first thing they have to understand that it's not yours. That is the first step to remove that. If I myself, I put myself inside the unit as well. I use the unit every day, at least 20 minutes inside the unit. I put myself inside, I feel better. If I start to feel depressed, I start to feel emotionally involved on this person, and I wanted to get rid of that feeling, I go inside the unit, and that's it. I feel release of that. But first, the first step is to understand that it's not yours. When you what's I called you pointed that it is not yours. You make that statement. This is not mine. You're starting to heal yourself.
Okay, so if from what I'm understanding there, I just literally need to focus my attention on my emotions and my perception of things, knowing that this is not me, it's not mine, and just kind of pass it on to maybe walk around barefoot and pass it into Mother Earth, pass it into the ground myself.
It helps a lot when you ground yourself and you go outside, even lying down on the ground and the grass, you release that energy. But once you make that statement, it's not mine, you understand that, and you're grounding yourself, it goes away.
Yeah.
But the first step is to understand that it's not yours. And that happened a lot of, as I said, I've known many healers that they start to have different diseases, because they're involved on those emotions, they're involved in those people, and they have understood, they received that energy, they got that energy. They, like the gravitational field, they extract that energy out of them. They start to feel better, but not yourself, not you. You're starting to feel bad and bad and bad. But as soon as you're address it and you understand that not yours, and you go outside, you have the command, you have the power within you. How many people know that statement? How many people really understand they are the souls? There's still people that do not understand that we are the souls, that we have the power within. There's still a lot of people in the religion state that the God is outside, that is a guy with a beard, with a big cane that make all the statement, that make all the changes. That's not true. But how can they change? They cannot. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe the power they have within. So you are the one, you are aware that you have the power, and you make that statement, they're not yours, and you have to release that energy. As I said, the person that was sitting in this unit, that was sitting down and started to feel depressed, a lot of energy inside, pain, and as soon as she ground herself on the floor, energy went away. That's why changing the GANs every day, so I said, I still understand to change it. I will change it depends on disease, but not in every single person I will change it, because that energy is not remain inside the tubes. That energy, you drain that energy on the ground. That's what my experience.
Surely, we know that we can affect the ganses in the initial production stage. So, you know, if this unit in front of us here, if that was used to process a disease on a client, a patient, and then the processing was complete and the disease was not manifesting in that person any longer. So we know that the energy had been taken from the person and put into the reactors. Because we know that we can affect plasma just with our intention. Surely, if then like the healer would then project their intention onto the reactors to release that energy, so that there would be no detrimental effect. Do you think that is possible?
Yes, as I said, my experience is, as I said, we had to learn more. We had to understand a little bit more about using this unit, this plasma. I know they extract the energy out of the body, but after having that experience with people, and not only one, and I have tested the different ones to not to ground themselves, and it feels different. So we don't keep that energy inside the cores, inside the sphere. So we drain out that energy. You create a cocoon inside of that reactors, and that cocoon is grounded, and that energy will extract that body. Your body extract that energy, goes to the ground. I still have. I'm going to make those questions. I'm going to discuss with Mr. Cash a little bit more about this. It's my experience.
Hello.
Yes, Mario.
Oh, yeah. Hello. You know, I seem to have a different understanding of what Mr. Kesh was saying last time about changing the waters and all that than everybody else seems to have. And maybe I got it totally wrong, but what I thought he was saying is, like, for example, if you're using a pain pad, the purpose of the pads is to bring a balance to the fields. So if you have a pain, then it's going to bring a balance. And once you brought a balance, then you're in balance there. If you have another pain there, it's because there's another imbalance. So using the same pain pad is not going to help. It's not that you're draining the energy, it's already in balance with those fields. So it's already in balance, can't do anything. It's not that it's drained energy, it has to have a difference you have to have a gradient. So if you've already balanced those fields, especially with the breathing, if you're breathing and it's the same Gans or Gans water or whatever all the time, well, once you've done it probably once or a few times, you've already brought a balance at that level. So you need to change it so that you're connecting to different fields, so to speak. Am I wrong in understanding that?
Yes, when using the patches, yes, it's for a specific person. If you use a breathing device, you're using a breathing device for one person. You don't mix, you don't share this breathing device with a different person. If you're using that device to a specific condition, once you change that condition, you don't need to use that breathing device.
Well, yeah, but I know. Yes, yes, of course, right. I understand that. No, I mean the same person. In other words, I'm talking about what Libby was asking about how the Ganses drain energy. My understanding was they don't run out of energy. They still have the energy, but they can only bring balance. So if you're using the same pain pad and you've already brought a balance to what that linked to. If you still have a pain, it's because you have a pain in another layer, so that you have to change the Gans material or the Gans water. And the same thing with the breathing. Once you've brought a balance, well, it can't do anything else. It can only balance. So if you change the water regularly, then you're constantly getting different fields from the spectrum. And so you can always get an exchange of energy. Whereas if you're using the same one again and again and again and again, it's not that it's lost its energy, it's that there's no more gradient. Those are in balance already with what it's connected to. I don't know if that makes sense.
It brings balance to your body. Your body is the one who brings it about. It's not the GANs. It's your body.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's connecting to the pads so that it's making a connection, and then you get amplitude increase. The way I look at it, you create an interaction, and that interaction allows your body to bring a balance to it. So, I mean, it's definitely the pain pads are having an effect in interacting, but that's the point, is they can interact until they come into balance. And then once they come into balance, you don't need that pain pad anymore. If you still want to have, you need more, then you change the water, you're changing the frequency a little bit. So you're linking to something else. If you're just linking to the same one and it's already in balance, you're not going to have any more effect.
I with all respect, I disagree a little bit with that, because I have used in people, the same people that have, as you said, pain in one part of the body. One spot of the body using a CO2 patch or 2 different CO2 patches, and the pain goes away and it feels good. And they have pain in a different part of the body using the same patches, and they get rid of that pain. So the body's using the same patch.
Well, yes, but you're not using it. If the pain comes back to that same spot, you probably need to change the pad, right? I mean, you're using it on a different part of the body, then it's going to link there. But if you have a shoulder pain and you use the patch and it works, but then the pain come back, it's because there's another layer that's out of tune or out of balance. So you change the water. If you put the same patch on there, it probably wouldn't work. No, I mean,
Well, let's put it this way: if you have you said the shoulder, you have a shoulder pain. What is the reason? What is the cause of that pain? If a ligament, torn ligament, is a bone problem, if you use only a CO2 patch, it will diminish the pain, but it's not going to resolve the issue. So you have to use a patch with a different mix of GANs in order to bring that elements that the ligaments or the bone needs in order to repair itself. Then you're going to get rid of the pain. But if you're using just the CO2 patches for the pain, that you get rid the help for the pain for 1 day or probably 2 days, and that it doesn't help you, it's not because you bring balance to the body. It's just you haven't repaired anything. Just bring it help for the swelling. It helps to allow the flow of energy goes back to the normal system on the area. So we have to understand what is the pain. What is the pain? Is the interruption of the flow of energy in some part of the body. When you use a pen or use a patch, it helps to bring that energy that's leaking back to the flow of energy of your body. That is pain. It's not that the patch has extract that pain out of your body. What it did is only to allow the continue or the flow of energy in your body. That's what the pain disappeared. Not because the patch brought that balance. It just helped you to redirect that flow of energy. So, makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes, of course. Yes, I understand that. I was really not addressing that. I was addressing the concept that I think a lot of people have, that the GANs, that what Mr. Kess was saying is the GANs seems to run out of energy or something like that. I don't think that's the case. And I think you just actually validated that with saying how you can use the same patch on another part of the body. It doesn't drain, and the patch always has the energy. The GANs will not run out of energy, I think is my point. And the reason that it might seem to run out of energy and not be as effective is either because of what you said just now, is you're not actually addressing the calcium problem and the other problems or whatever. but in just a breathing units for emotional satisfaction or whatever, that you should change that water on a regular basis to get a spectrum of fields. Because once you've created a balance with one layer, well, that's all you can do. You can't do anything else. So if you need more, it's because you need to connect to other layers. So you need to change the water. It's not that the GANs has run out of energy.
What does a regular basis for you mean?
Sorry?
When we said we have to change this on a regular basis, what do you mean? What does it mean that for you?
Well, I would guess once you feel like you've gotten an emotional satisfaction or from the breathing, or you felt like you've gotten what you needed, then you would probably not be able to get any more from that GANs. So you change it. Something like that. Not in any fixed time or anything like that, but the only thing they can do is bring a balance. They can't add anything or take anything. Well, like they add and take away to bring the balance. Once they've done that, then it's not that the GANs material or your patch or your breathing unit has lost its energy. It's just that it's already done its job there. So you need to change it so that it can there's a spectrum of fields there. And so you're just tuning to one and you bring a balance of that one. But what about the others? See, that's the idea. I think
we are saying the same thing. Yes, we have to change it. If we deal with that problems, first of all, we don't have to use it anymore. If you had a different one, you're going to use different ones. But,
right. I think so. Right.
I absolutely agree with that. If you're using the passive, you have the breathing device. But if you're using the rings, the rings with plasma inside, change it on a regular basis at different persons. In my experience, because I have been using it for different persons, a lot of them, and I don't see effects. I don't see that the effect is less in the other person than the other one. I've seen a good effect on every person using the same rings with the same.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying. It's not the GANs don't lose on the same person. It won't work anymore because it's already brought a balance. So you can't do anything. But you put another person in there, the same GANs material should work perfectly. Right. So I think I think a lot of people were thinking that somehow, I think that's what Libby was asking, is that how does these GANs material lose their energy? And I think
was in reference to Mr. Kesh's teachings last Thursday in the 201st Knowledge Seeker workshop. So
yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think he meant that they actually lose their energy. It's that they might lose their effectiveness because of that. Because you've already brought a balance to that. And if you still have more needs, it's because you haven't addressed the calcium or you haven't addressed this, or there's another layer that needs to be addressed. So you would have to change the GANs material. So the GANs can never lose its energy, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to add that I think we need to get clarification from Mr. Kesh, because I did type those words or reviewed those words, and that is what he said. So it may have been, we do need a deeper understanding, and I am.
What specifically did he say, though? He said that the GANs lose their energy?
He says they get drained because they reach balance with the different fields, and that we need to replace them, that they are still going to have GANs in them, but they will no longer be at the strength needed for the human body. So obviously, if they've lost their strength that we need for the human body.
He didn't say they lost their strength. Didn't he just say they get drained because they've brought a balance? So now you can't do anything more than that. So they lose their effectiveness. No?
Like I said, if we get Mr. Kesh come in and clarify at some point, I think it will be very helpful. And I come back to Dr. Rodrigo and all those successful healers, because he did say it's why some health units and some medical doctors are more successful with their health trials than others. because, and that's where I think it comes back to the intention of the soul, who's creating these devices and working with people, that from my understanding, it's just mine at this point, but that it is that power of our souls, the power of our intention, that beyond the Ganses keeps the energy going. But that's why I said I really would love clarification from Mr. Kesh when he has an opportunity. And Dr. Rodrigo, I'm sorry I brought it up, so to speak, because I know you haven't had a chance to listen to that section. So it's kind of coming at left field for you, and I didn't mean to do that to you because I admire everything you do. So maybe this is better to wait to continue discussing once we get the clarification from Mr. Kesh, because I know there's many, many of us who have heard that and who are going to wonder, well, what does this really mean? And I thank you so much for all the different perceptions that have been given to us. But I know those words that were written, and I just think, wow, we really have to get some clarification here. So again, thank you. And Dr. Rodrigo, your soul is so pure.
Thank you.
We have so much to learn from you.
Well,
so
we have to learn a lot still.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you, Dr. Rodrigo. Such wonderful work that you're doing for humanity. I think we'll take a hold on all the questions here, and we'll move on with Jim.
We have one quick question from the live stream that was still remaining from quite a long time ago.
Okay.
From R. Thomas, who says, please do not forget to talk about the use and application of the amino acids. Could we quickly go over that? I don't know if that's been covered during this part. Or was there a part that was previously covered? Or can we cover it in this next part, perhaps?
I think that'll be something that we can cover for next year sometime, because that's quite an in-depth.
Yeah, didn't you have a question last week about amino acids and how they were used in the health units or health patches?
Yeah, I think that it was at least partially answered there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let that go for now and continue with, I know Jim wants to get on with the show here.
All right, so we've come to the end of part 12, and we hope that you have learned from all the different speakers that have come on, all the different aspects of this technology, because it does cover an enormous amount of work and will continue to do so for many, many years. And so I wanted to do a bit of a summary. And so, as you can see, I wanted to put our future world, but in reality, it's not the future anymore, because this technology, we're all working with it, we're all doing experiments, and we're all seeing the changes. So it is now already. We don't have to wait for it. It's this technology is here and it's changing the world already. So there is no more future, no more waiting. So we've had a look at 11 parts, and so we have to look at how this technology is going to change the way we live. You know, why are we learning this technology? Why do we have to try and study this, and what is it going to do to change our world? So in the very first workshop, I had covered all these different aspects from nanomaterials. So I'm just going to go through each one in a bit of a summary. And when one looks at the nanotechnology, you know, at first, many of us thought that it's just a simple case of putting on some layers onto a piece of copper, and as long as it becomes a black piece of copper, then it's fine. But there's a lot of science behind the nanolayering, and there's a lot of meaning behind the nanolayering, where each one of these tiny little atoms will find their position in relation to one another. And that's exactly how we operate. That's exactly how each and every one of the ganses operate. So from understanding the nanolayering, we've understood a lot of aspects and how it relates to health and agriculture and even operating our soul. So we've understood, say, the positioning in relation to each other. We've understood the magnetic gravitational fields. We understand how the different layering allows us to interact with the fields. We've seen on the health, different layerings on the body, different layerings on the plants and our skin, and the different layerings we're creating on our copper. And so by showing how we've moved from the matter state, which we've all known, into creating the nano, we've learned how to open this plasma and release more of the fields, more of the energy that is available there. We've also begun to understand that when we create these nano layers on our copper, we're creating superconductors and superinsulators in the different directions. So, that technology alone is going to open up a whole new part of science and exploring as to the different technologies that are going to come out of just that aspect of it. And then we've just learned to use, one part of it by creating our different GANS materials. But I think if there's a lot of scientists out there, the technology that's going to come out just from this basic understanding is going to be enormous, and it's going to change a lot of aspects. And then we go into the next section in terms of materials. And just as an example, we showed you how you can create your CO2 GANs using different plates. But the whole idea with the materials and showing you that you can create your CO2 and different GANs, your copper GANs and CH3 GANs, is that essentially for the very first time we've shown how when you're making your CO2 GANs, we are making the materials from the fields. And as everything is made from the fields, so now we can use the fields to make whatever we want. So we've only shown here that you can make your CO2, create the condition to make your CO2 from the fields around us. But who's to say why we can't create any other materials from the fields around us? If we begin to understand and create certain conditions, we can create copper, we can create gold, we can create any materials that we want just from the fields around us. So the CO2 is just the very first example and sort of the first proof of how we can start creating materials from the fields all around us. So we've used and learned the matter state, creating the nano, and we've created our different GANs. And from the GANs, we began to understand and started using the GANs materials. And we knew that these GANs materials were creating different fields. And as you've just heard on the health section with Dr. Rodrigo, placing these GANSs in different combinations and different positions, you're creating the flow of the fields. And so now we know that we are really working with the fields now. And through those fields, as we've shown, you can create your different GANs materials, like your CO2. And so now we know that we can, by using this technology, create whatever material that we're wanting. When we look at the agriculture side of things, we've shown, just with a few experiments, the effects on longer shelf life, producing healthy produce and longer shelf life. We've shown effects of increased yield that we're getting. Other farmers have shown what impacts the GANS material has on the seed in terms of the type of produce that comes from it. A lot of us have seen reduced pests on our plants, and so there'll be less need for pesticides. We've seen a lot of people growing crops in winter time and out of season, extended seasons where they would not normally crop, and also where crops and plants don't normally grow. We've seen them growing quite happily. So we're changing that environment around our plants. So we've seen with agriculture, just with a few people around the world doing different experiments, we've seen results using this plasma technology. And further research and testing by yourself in your garden will also reveal much more wonderful benefits of using the GANS materials in our gardens, in our lands, in the farmers. We actually learn how to create new environments around our plants. So it's not just a case of wanting to get a better yield of our plants. We are changing the whole environment in which we are growing. We've also understood how plants also interact with the fields and how the plants are getting all their nutritional needs from the fields around us. And we'll learn that we actually need to grow our food and our crops in harmony and balance with nature. So we can create an environment we are not having the problems of pests, is because we know we're not growing in an unbalanced environment. And when we look at our total environment beyond just farming, we understand that everything in nature is alive and has a soul. So every plant, every creature out there has a soul and it's alive. And just this simple understanding is going to change the way that we view nature out there. So it's not a case of use and abuse anymore. It's a case of understanding that there are other creatures out there that we've been living with all this time, and we need to understand and appreciate them and start working in harmony with our environment. And with using the GANS materials, we can, in our little way, start changing our environment that we're living in. So by putting your CO2 GANS in your little rivers and ponds and streams, and even your water fountains in your towns, you're changing that environment, and you're changing the regeneration of your area that you are living in. So each and every one of us can play our little role in changing that environment. And if we start really interacting with nature, we'll realize that she will become our greatest teacher, because nature is how this plasma operates. We've just never understood it. And now, by understanding nature a bit more, we will learn a hell of a lot from nature. So I do urge all of you to get more connected with nature and start understanding. Then we look at energy and transportation, and we've discussed the interaction of two plasmas, whether it be sort of the sun and the earth, and the motion of one in relation to the other one is through magnetical gravitational positioning. And through that, we can get transportation. We understand transportation and energy. And just by watching the simple video on the round magnets and how they position themselves without any electricity or fuel gives us a clue on how we will be traveling, either within Earth or in space. Because it just comes down to the simple interaction of a craft within Earth, but having your craft having its correct magnetical gravitational fields in relation to Earth's magnetical gravitational fields. And it's just be the positioning again, and no fuel will be needed. And so the plasma science is really the understanding about the knowledge and the energy of the universe, and how we can tap into that energy of the universe. On the health aspects, which is all very important for a lot of us, we have understood how we basically process the body using the fields. We've understood that the body is made up of fields, and that all we are doing is we are now interacting with the fields that we have created with the body. So by understanding that our body is just different fields, whether it's the eye or your organ or your lungs, it's just different combinations of ganses and different combinations of field strength, all making up our different organs. And just this understanding and realizing that if we're made of fields, then we can create the fields to start interacting with the body. And so we can create the different energy fields to restore the body back to its original. And just like the plants, we've also learned that the body is getting 80% of its energy through the fields around us, and only 20% of the energy from the actual food that we are eating. And the important part is that, you know, the disease that we've always known with ourselves essentially comes from 2 points, whether it's a physical imbalance or an emotional imbalance. And almost 90% of all chronic diseases is really an emotional balance. So, and we know that the emotional strength is far stronger than our physical body. So it's a question of, do we fix the physical disease, or do we get right to the cause of the disease, which is our emotions? So it's a whole new understanding of how to tackle and process the diseases in our body. So working on our emotions is going to change our physical body. But with that comes the responsibility that we have for our thoughts and actions, because we are the ones that have been causing the diseases through our thoughts and our actions. So if we've been doing and causing the disease, then we're the ones that have to change it, and we're the ones that can reverse that process. And so essentially, when we look at the whole health aspects, it becomes a totally new way of looking at the health of one's body. So it's not just a case of every disease is compartmentalized and we need a certain pill for this and a pill for that. It's really looking at the body from a total perspective. It's made up of the fields. And so this is going to change the way that the whole society will view health in the future. And it's again, you know, we encourage a lot of current scientists and doctors and in all sorts of fields to come and start learning, because it's just an extension of what they've already known, but it will enable us to be a lot more successful in the processing of the bodies. And as Dr. Rodrigo spent some time today showing different health units and different applications that people have been using. So we're looking at using the plasma technology is a whole new approach to the way we will look at health, both from a physical and an emotional point of view. And then we get to our soul. And we've understood how, because we're made of all the ganses in the fields, we are essentially a reactor ourselves, and we are a plasma being. We're not just the physical body that we've always thought that we were. and that our soul has the primal field in the center. Our soul is the strongest of the field. And when you look at that plasma spiral, as we explained, if you view it as a wound up spring, your very center is the strongest point, and that is your soul. And as the fields unwind at the very edges, we get the physical body, and in between is your fields of your emotion. So by working on the body, either through the emotion side of it or directly from the soul, we can easily see how we can change our physical body. And just a reminder there of a picture of the location of the soul, and it's that really central, strong primal field in the center of the brain. But we've also understood with the soul and us being a living reactor, and if we can view ourselves as a tiny little magnet, so we as a human being are also giving and receiving fields continuously. So we are impacting everything around in our environment. So when we are coming into contact with other people, we are interacting with their fields, they're interacting with our fields. When we go out into nature, and whether it's the plants or the animals, it's just all fields interacting with each other. So we have to become quite aware of what type of fields we are giving, whether it's anger, hatred, or whether it's love, because it comes down to our choice. And it's a case of positioning, you know, when we're in certain environments, just like the magnets, we can learn to position ourselves correctly. When we begin to really understand the operations of our soul, it's really going to change the way that we all live together. Because if we understand that we are all the same, all made from the same fields, then this whole concept of division and barriers through language, or different countries, or different religions, or different political viewpoints becomes all quite obsolete, because we all connected together, we all one family connected with the fields. And so these tiny little divisions become quite pathetic when we look at it from the perspective of the soul. So just like two plasmas are interacting, it's just the same as two people interacting, but we're interacting from our soul level, interacting from that point of pure love between each other. Doesn't matter who we are or where we come from. And then we look at sort of the space travel, and now, very simply, we know that space travel becomes a reality, and it's not just going to be in our solar system, but it's going to be in the universe. And the only limiting factor of this technology will be our imagination, because from this technology, and when we begin to really understand this technology, there can be 1,000,000,001 different things that can be created. It will only be left up to our imagination. So what does this all mean? We've been through and we've shown you different aspects on the health, from a health point of view, and agriculture and energy and soul. And in the past, we've always viewed this as very fragmented, very compartmentalized. That's how our current education has been. We're a scientist in this, and we're a scientist, or we're a doctor, we're engineer, and nothing is really related to each other. And that's what this picture is trying to illustrate, is that in the past, we've always had division even amongst science itself, and science and biology and physics has all been viewed as separate. But what this technology really teaches us is that it all is just one, because it all comes down to the fields, the magnetical and gravitational fields. So it doesn't matter whether we're talking about health and processing the body, because we're using the fields. And when we talk about working on the farms and agriculture, we're also talking about using the fields. It's just a different application. When we're wanting to make materials, that's a case of creating the right environment so that we can make the material from the fields. Working with our soul, we don't see our soul because it's just of the field, of a higher field strength. So it doesn't matter what technology we are going to be dealing with in the future, it all comes down to the fields, magnetical and gravitational fields. And so from now on, we look at everything, it's essentially just the one science. It's the science of the plasma. So when we really study the science, we will just become plasma scientists. It doesn't matter whether you're working on energy, health, or soul, because when you understand how it works in agriculture, you will understand how your body works. And with this technology, you just understand how it works in nature, in your body, in your health, in the solar system. It doesn't really matter. It's just one science of the plasma. And so we hope that we have given you an understanding of this technology. It's a very broad, basic understanding. We wanted to create it into the different compartments to show you the different aspects of this technology and how it works on the health and the body and agriculture. But essentially, we're now bringing it back down to one, and it's just the understanding of the fields. And this is going to really create a whole new world around us, and a whole new way of living with the different technology that's going to come out. But with this knowledge comes quite a great responsibility, because we know that we have to make the changes or the positioning that we would like to see on this planet we call Earth, because we're not having to wait for anybody else to come along and make the changes for us. We know that we have the power within us to make those changes. So each and every one of us can do it. It doesn't matter where we are on this planet. And it does only take one person to change, because if you change, you are interacting, your fields are going out way beyond Earth into the universe. So just your change, the way you've changed, is going to affect everybody else. And the more people that change, the more people that operate differently, operate from the point of view of love, is going to change the way this Earth is. And I think many of us have already felt over the past couple of years, there's been a great shift and change that is taking place. And that's because we've been making the change. You know, we haven't been waiting for somebody else to do it. It's us, and it's our responsibility to do it. So this plasma science is a science that shows us the operation of the Creator, which is the essence of us, our soul. Once we unleash our true potential as creators, we will use this knowledge to begin our true journey, a life of beauty, abundance, and exploration of creation, knowing we can bring anything we wish into being with our unconditional love. And that brings an end to the 12 parts. I'd just like to thank Mr. Kesh and Caroline and Rick, Flint, and Vince in the background for getting up early. And Sandor with all his knowledge that he's parted with us over this 12th part, same as Dr. Rodrigo as well. Lisa, Dr. Gatwa, and the transcriber team who are in the background transcribe all these workshops so that it can be distributed in the different languages. Also like to thank all the language teachers who are teaching everybody around the world, and the private students who helped to contribute and put together a lot of this material many months ago. Thank you very much. And all who participated and added to this collection of knowledge and the fields that we've generated through these 12-part workshops. And we hope that you have learned something and feel inspired to want to learn more, because it comes down to your responsibility. If you want to see the change in the world, then it's up to you. And it's up to you to then educate yourself in how to use this technology. And so we do encourage you to participate in all the different programs that we have on offer, because we need every one of you to understand this technology and build your knowledge, because as your knowledge builds, so we start building the knowledge on this planet. And thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Such a nice ending to this wonderful series.
So I don't think there should be any questions.
Can I just add my gratitude to you and Lisa, Jim? You both have done a fabulous job. You took our ship and you turned it around and headed it in a really good direction. I'm very grateful for what you and Lisa have done for the education program. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. We've learned more that doing it this way than a lot of you. So we learn more out of it.
So this is Boniface.
Yes.
We want to thank you, Jim, for putting this program together, and all the presenters, and congratulate you for going through all 12 of them. So did you promise us there'll be 20 next year? Is that what you were saying earlier?
No, you misunderstood me.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We will be
anyway,
from one to 20.
No, what I wanted to recognize is that this will be a valuable asset as we share this information with people that we come across these presentations. Earlier, the subject had come up that perhaps these slides will be made available, and you are considering how and where you would do that. That's my last question for you. Have you resolved that? Is this going to be made available to us, or is it proprietary, or what?
No, we're working on something so in the background, and so we will have it, try and make it available early in the new year, end of January, February. Then that will be available for everybody.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Nicholas, and I just want to give my gratitude and appreciation for the presentations for Lisa, Flint, Dr. Rodrigo, Jim, and all that you brought in the organization of this, and the joy that I have seen building in you throughout this time. So just to say how much I appreciate it, and just want to say I am present. I'm looking forward to next year and being a part of it, and maybe in some ways I can participate in that. So thank you very, very much. You brought a lot into my life and into this environment. And just one thing that I would like to say from listening to this is that none of this is fixed. What we're looking at here in science, in plasma technology, we have seen, I see it a little bit that we are creating a language that we grow into, that we don't know how to put into words because we're dealing with something that doesn't come from words. So in creating this language is a part of the environment. And as so many have said, we're just beginning that. So I see this language developing and I kind of wear it. It's a part of me. It's not fixed. There's no formula for saying when that water is no longer potent or not potent. You need to know that. We need to know that now. We need to be able to feel that from the water that says, I'm no longer potent, recycle me, put me onto the into the garden or the fields and draw new water forth for whatever reason. We're breathing this environment through all of our devices, through our intention, and through a great degree from each other in this worldwide community that is forming so much around these workshops where we can tune in from all over the planet. So thank you so much. I appreciate everyone and have a beautiful break. We will see you next year, and much love.
Yeah, it's just such a new technology, and we all just learning. It's all very new to us, but somehow we do know this technology down, deep down we know it. It's just a case of remembering.
Hello, Jim. This is Klaus. I want to also give you special thanks and my appreciation and wonderful and the gratitude for this wonderful preparation for this course. And I'm looking forward for the next year. And we bring so much together. This is so wonderful game that we play now. And many of us come closer and closer and closer to ourselves. And I see so many potentials for the next step. I can say only thank you for this. And all the stuff together to Mr. Cash, Caroline, as you mentioned, Rick Flint, and all the wonderful beings that be involved in this. And we bring it together and bring it to the next step forward. Thank you and have a good time.
Thanks, Klaus. We're all building the fields, every single one of us in our own way. We're building the fields of change. So creating what we would like to see.
Yes, for sure. And every day the fields become stronger and stronger and become more and more a new standard on this wonderful blue, green, and white planet. Thanks.
I can just add more of the same. Thank you very much, Jim, for the presentations. Thanks for making nice, clear, clean PDFs that we can all see and share easily. And thanks comes from the people on the live stream as well, and from other social media that have expressed their appreciation for this series, because it's so basic, and it's what a lot of people have needed to round out their education in the plasma technology. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a group effort, it can only be done because of all of us. So.
And it's been an honor to be able to host it. So I thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure.
All right. And we hope everybody enjoys their break. and then we can see you back next year.
Okay, thank you, Jim. So this concludes our series here of Understanding Plasma Science. It's been a presentation of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Public Teaching in English. So, yes, everyone have a great rest of their day or afternoon and evening, and we'll be seeing you next time. Bye for now.